Alrighty. This is Copenhagen Circle, the 10th podcast. It's going to be a special. We are live from Croatia, a little island called Hvar. In the studio is my best friend Tom.
Hello.
We have been spending some days here.
Good
Actually,
days.
how many days? 10 days now
10,
almost?
11, something like that.
On this island. It's his mom's what do you call it, summer house?
Yes, my grandpa built it about 40 years ago, and it's been lost and forgotten a little bit because it's quite a ways from civilization. You have to drive here with the car and you have to pack everything and stuff. But it has been reactualized, and I'm really glad I brought Matthias, my best friend, my Kalyanamita, my spiritual companion. And yeah, we've been doing good shit here. We've been being creative, we've been playing music, we've been having lots of talks, driving a bit about the island, trying to discover new places. And yeah, today is the last day, so good day for a podcast.
And it's been a really good day.
Yes.
We've been working on some magical circle with runic inscriptions that says Empire Rise.
Yes.
And it's an idea that we want to manifest a great future for the two of us. And we see our friendship as building towards something, towards some sort of empire or some sort of greatness. And so we've been trying to manifest and do chaos magic and trying to actualize the quantum field and all the infinite potentials that exist in the universe. And yeah, today has just been a great day. We've done so much art, and Tom is working on a Zen garden and a Japanese gate, red gate in the Zen garden.
The
It's
Torii gate.
yeah.
That in Japanese culture apparently it's called translated the gate of life, which is supposed to be a transition from the material plane to the spiritual plane, and also keep away bad spirits. So in combination with the circle, the new garden with a small statue of Buddha, where we have also been meditating, enjoying the sun, the gate of life, full in red, with scavenged wood that we found somewhere along the travels, will be put up, and we're gonna actualize.
Yes, sir. And what's going on right now is we're sitting on top of the roof, and we're getting just the last bit of sun I'm getting in my face right now as we speak. And it's beautiful here on the island. And we're smoking some canna, and we're gonna play you our little song. It's called Empire Rise. It's I think it's Tom's first song.
Yeah. Matthias helped me a lot in discovering music for myself. I've been painting before that. But as you have heard in the other podcast episodes, with a lot of the songs in the beginning and maybe also in the middle. And yeah, Empire Rise was a good song that happened in a very free state of mind when we were in an eco village in Denmark. 2 Line, shout out.
Yes.
Yeah, Empire Rise.
Empire Rise, Empire Rise.
Empire rise, empire rise. Hey, 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 hey. Empire rise.
ho, hey, 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 ho, hey, hey, ho, ho, hey, hey, ho, hey, hey, ho.
We have rebuilt Babylon, we have built stone by stone. We will have reached the sky, empire rise.
Empire rise. Empire rise. Empire rise.
Empire rise. Empire rise.
We ride through the north, east, west and south, up the mountains all the way till we reach the clouds, yeah. Empire rise, hey, hey, ho, ho.
Empire rise, empire rise.
Woo!
Nice. Thank you for that, Matthias.
We'll get a perfect recording pretty soon.
Beautiful place.
And the sun has gone down, and I just lit some canna, not cannabis, but canna skeletium tortusum. Since we ran out of the cannabis a couple days ago, I have some trouble sleeping, but
Has
it's
been a
all right.
productive time, actually.
It has been a really productive time. Yes.
Reading a lot, writing. Matthias began writing his first book yesterday while he couldn't sleep.
Yeah, thank God for no sleep, huh?
We've been listening to some podcasts.
I've been showing Tom some more conspiracy videos. That's what I like to do with my friends and mess up their minds with conspiracy theories about aliens and the moon and Nazis on the dark side of the moon and stuff like that. And there was a full moon a couple days ago. We were supposed to do the ritual then, but we got too drunk and tired. But the circle is finished now, and
The time for manifesting is now.
yes,
Always.
Tom is a physicist. He's finishing his master's degree in Copenhagen, and I've just finished my philosophy bachelor's degree, and we met in Christiania while I was smoking a joint and playing guitar, and Tom joined me and sat next to me and painted, and we've been doing that ever since. But we've had so many great conversations about philosophy and physics and
Amun.
and gods and everything in between, you know.
Amun.
And I was just hoping that I could share a tiny bit of those conversations with you guys today. So I wrote a little bit down about what to talk about, and then the first thing on the list, it says quantum physics.
Yes.
And I remember the first time Tom explained to me quantum physics and what it means, and how, like, on the deepest subatomic level, things seem to just manifest from almost nothing. Yeah. I'm not even sure I completely understand it yet. Maybe
Nobody really does. Nobody really does. There's a great a great short video of a quantum physics professor, and how he begins the semester-long class, where he says, "You at the moment know nothing about quantum physics, And in this course, I will teach you about quantum physics so that you, just as I and everybody else, can also not understand what quantum physics really is. Because the quantum, this very microscopic world, is very different from the macroscopic world which we live in, where the smallest particles, like let's say for example the electron, don't have an exact position, like you would for example measure something in our 3D space, measure the position of a person. But electrons and other really small things are more in a wave state, or are in a wave state, which holds more or less all possible states that that thing can be in at the same time. But then also you have the wave collapse, where these quantum possibilities actualize when you interact with an electron, for example, and in that interaction you then get a definite
conscious observer interaction, right? Or not necessarily?
I guess that's up to debate, but an interaction in that case means, for example, two electrons interacting with each other, or two atoms, or that wave state behavior is seen in the very smallest of things, in, for example, electrons and atoms, and experiments like the double slit experiment have been done to show the wave particle duality of light, of electrons, and we've actually gone as far as having I think it's a special formation of a molecule. I think it's C60, where we have 60 atoms that still seem to portray these wave-like behaviors. But then where or how does it go from the microscopic to the macroscopic, if this quantum reality actually exists everywhere and all around us? So if you have enough interactions, stuff is more or less always in a definite space, and that is like our bodies are made up of, I don't know, something about 10 to the 25, 26, 27 atoms and electrons, and in this bunching up of stuff you have so many interactions that wave state kind of is always collapsed. So that is how the randomness of the microscopic then with a lot of interactions transitions into the macroscopic, where you then have humans and cars and you measure speeds and you have weight
and that's when
all
it
of
becomes
that
predictable, yeah?
and that is when it becomes fully predictable. On the lowest level you have full randomness, and on the highest level, or not even the highest level, but at some points when you have clumps of stuff, then it becomes predictable and has a way, a path, stuff that it does without the randomness. And Matthias asked me and some of my physics friends a while back, let's say 2 weeks ago, what did you ask about what are the normative
the normative conclusions from quantum physics, basically.
Yes.
Like
What are the normative conclusions? Which is a hard question, and not a question that I think I am fully able to explain, as I have done my physics degree, my bachelor's, and I've learned about quantum physics, but there is a lot of depth there. But I really liked when we had a conversation. I would like to talk about the realization, or like, how could you see this randomness that quantum physics has in on the most basic level? How could you take that into your own life, and how could you work with that? And me and Matthias have been reading about a lot of stuff. I've been trying to get more in touch with Buddhism, for example, and what they say often is living in the immanent experience without all the abstractions, without being too much in your head, but just the past doesn't really exist, the future does not really exist, only the moment is true. And how can you combine that with quantum physics? And we had a really good conversation about that. And what I enjoyed thinking about was how if everything is just a moment, then you go from moment to another moment, and you do that via an action. Although also not acting in this case is also an action. So if you just sit down and you do nothing, you still go from moment to moment. And seeing moments kind of like in a wave state, where each moment you have the possibility to do a lot of different things. For example, if I sit down, I could jump off this roof, I could stand up and begin doing push-ups, I could begin to meditate, I could just scream really loudly. So seeing it as every moment being kind of like a wave function that then through the action from one moment to the other collapses. And the action that you do is then the reality of what is. And I've been really enjoying this thought of there being paths or like actions. I don't know, how would you describe that path going from moment to moment?
We were talking about it in relation to the Tao. The Tao is meaning the way, and it's a philosophical idea that there's a perfect way of being, there's a perfect way of walking the path and the road, or that the road is always there, and the Tao Te Ching is a book that talks about it, and it has a lot of cryptic stuff about the way that is to be followed, how it's not the way of other people, and your way might be different, and how you walk the Tao, and it's somehow being in perfect balance and equanimity with the universe and with your surroundings and with yourself.
Going off on that, I think with the interpretation, let's say, of going from moment to moment with action and action and action, there are different paths. And one of the paths that you could walk, if you walked it perfectly, is maybe the Tao. Like if you do the right action in each and every moment, then you could walk a perfect path. But also that would not mean there is just a singular path, and diverging from it in any way destroys your way of the path. Like for example, if I want to walk the Tao in my lifetime, and I think about this in that moment, I could meditate, and that would maybe bring me closer on the path. But I could also do push-ups or sit-ups, which would strengthen my body, and that would also be in line with the Tao. There is basically infinite possible actions you can take from moment to moment, and a lot of them lead the right way, a lot of them lead the wrong way. Just a lot of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
But if you manifest, I think, and if you have good intentions, if you have the right intentions to walk from moment to moment, I don't know, there's something there.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'd like to bring it back to the manifestation magic that we've talked about, and tie all this quantum stuff to that, because it seems like that in quantum physics that there is this field of possibilities where the electron is gonna manifest when the wave function is broken. And so I asked you, what are the normative effects of quantum physics? Meaning, like, what can you take from it in your own life and change your actions depending on the conclusions from this high-end physics? And one of them seems to be that there is, at least in the last podcast I talked about, it was titled "You Are Living Inside Your Own Mind," and one of the ideas I used to get to that was the idea that the way you experience the world and the world perhaps is that you don't see out through your eyes, or like light, you don't shoot something out through your eyes and get the image. The light actually travels into your eyes, and so you are receiving the world, and the world is coming from you, not at you. And I don't know, going further on this idea, it's this idea that there is some sort of infinite field of possibility that your brain and consciousness can interact with in some way. And it's funny, I was laying this idea out to Tom a little more than a week ago when we were in Vienna, and I tried to convince him that basically ghosts or spirits exist, or that there's definitely something that you cannot see, and that there is this field, or like that there is definitely more than you can sense. and while we just talked about this, Tom did he said, "Let the light blink." It was dark outside, and then he's like, "Let these lamps blink if there is something out there." Yes. And then we waited for like 10 seconds, and then suddenly, whoop, the lights turned on, and it was because a cat was walking through and like turned them on. And it really spooked us out.
Trying to communicate with maybe something that observes.
Yeah, and Tom has taken it further while we've been here at the island, when he's been interacting with some ants, and he's been playing their god and like giving them food, and then stopping their home with stuff that they have to pull out of their little nest, and just doing all sorts of funny experiments with them, and then while he was doing that, he told me, like, surely there could be some beings who are the way we are to ants, they are to us.
Yes.
And then we've been talking about, well, how does an ant get a human's attention, right?
Because you could, like, if you look at ants and their burrows or nests, and you look at a singular ant, you could kind of visualize also us humans and cities and just civilization as like these nests, and the singular ants as humans. and then you look at the ants, and they have actually, from our perspective, a very limited point of view. But then, and they literally cannot perceive me because their eyes or their senses or whatever does not allow them to see the bigger picture that we are able to see.
Mm-hmm.
But then I can put down my finger literally in front of the ant, and it interacts in some way, and it's like, oh, there is now something here.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a very funny interaction with one of the big ants, the warrior ants, where I used my finger, the tip of my index finger, with my nail to kind of represent an enemy which this ant was fighting, and using my nail as a shield and pushing it around a bit, and I called it the champion for fighting the god. And I don't know, it made me think that the same way I am a god to the nest of ants, and they can't perceive me, there could surely be some kind of beings outside of our 3D space or 4D space-time that could look upon us without us realizing in any way.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like you said, like, what can ants, for example, do to get humans' attention? And I saw a meme about this a while back, where it was like, I will not notice any singular ants or nest beneath my feet, but if the ants begin doing a big circle and fucking walking in rhythm, then I'd be like, oh, that's interesting, I'll look down there.
Okay, yeah.
And so in that way, they definitely, with a lot of effort, even though they don't know what they are doing or searching for or communicating, they could make contact to a god. And in the same way, I think that maybe if there is some kind of being that acts like I do to the ants, to us as humans, that there could be a way of, because also in that case, like, ants are fucking stupid. They have no idea, they just walk around, they have their basic functions that they follow. And in the same way, we humans would be very stupid to those higher beings. But then again, these higher beings could maybe see all humans at the same time, or like look in your mind, or maybe not even be bound by time or space or vision or light. And so maybe doing rituals in some kind of way, sending out a signal. Maybe we talked about it, what could you do to communicate with such beings? What could you do to make yourself interesting? And things that could be interesting would be like maybe full moon or solar eclipses, like interesting moments in time, but also maybe making, like Matthias did today, like a 2 meter tall circle, magic circle with Viking runes written around, Empire Rise. And then, I don't know, maybe meditating, sending out your location, or chanting something, playing music, salt circles, I don't know.
The thing is, we have had these rituals, me and Tom. We've done a couple of them, and when we do it, we always try to use all the possible magic that we can think of. We are lighting candles, we are lighting incense, we are usually taking some sort of psychedelic drug, we are chanting, we are breathing, we are meditating, playing music. There's always a full moon. And
why? Because we actually have no fucking idea what we are doing, and what these, or like, that's maybe, we have ideas, but of course we don't know anything concrete. So let's just try out a bunch of stuff in hopes that it works.
yeah,
Because I guess if magic exists and people have been doing magic, there was a beginning. People began doing stuff at some point. So maybe we can also begin doing some stuff.
yeah. the way I've added a little spin on it is well, lately I'm in a weird place in my life right now where like I don't really know where I'm going and what I should do. Like I finished my degree and now I'm just here, and after this I'm gonna go to a meditation camp, a Vipassana retreat. But after that I'm not really sure either. So what I've been doing is I've been working with ChatGPT, and I asked it like find me some jobs and write me some applications, and then I've just copy pasted the email address and the messages and just sent a bunch, like 100 messages around the world to.
You explained it like being an octopus.
Yeah.
Reaching for all the possibilities.
Yes, I call it being a quantum octopus. And then putting the tiny possibility out there. For an example, I texted some monks in Italy, or I texted a bunch of monasteries actually, and asked them if it would be possible for me to study Greek and Latin at their monastery and have spiritual guidance and so on. And actually one of them got back to me now, and so it's I try to actualize the quantum field, and then this plus these rituals makes it a lot more hopeful, I think. And
it has been working.
It has been working, yeah.
Just putting it out there, trying some stuff.
Yeah.
I wish you well on your way, and I think I want to steal your technique. I think talking with my physics friends, for example, during studies, we were all like, okay, I guess we're studying physics, but what we're gonna do afterwards, we have no fucking idea. Because as a student, you don't really have an idea of what is actually out there, what kind of jobs, what kind of possibilities. Like, being very new to the world, and also in a way naive to what is possible, what works, what can work.
Mm-hmm.
So you just putting yourself out there, being a quantum octopus.
Yeah.
Works.
Yeah. It works. Okay, another topic that I've written down is creativity as an emergent behavior. I don't know, as a physicist, maybe, I don't know if you could talk about emergent behavior. Like what is that?
Yeah, emergent behavior. It's an important topic in machine learning and AI, where it seems like, okay, so first of all, with machine learning, you have to train your model. And let's say you've trained your model and the model is complete. And then you give it some resources to think, basically, to do stuff. And what I've heard is that the more power you give this model, this machine learning algorithm, the more abilities it has, in a way. In the sense of, let's say you begin with the lowest amount of energy you give it, and it can fulfill the tasks that it was trained to based on how much energy you give it, and based on how well the model works and the predictive qualities of it. But as you increase the available energy that you give to this algorithm, suddenly there is emergent behavior. Meaning, for example, that I heard that there was a language model that they taught some languages to, and then as they increased the resources of the large language model, it could, for example, it could translate Latin, although that wasn't part of its training. Mm-hmm. Just with an increase in energy
yeah.
and computation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is also one thing why so many computer scientists are hoping for general artificial intelligence, where if we just give it enough power, more emergent behavior will come out. Like, for example, the way AI has been able to begin thinking, begin making conclusions, and not just random predictions and trying to understand stuff better. That is all that comes out of emergent behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, I could see, for example, complexity having, or reality having emergent behaviors where, for example, of course we don't know how the brain fully works, but also we have billions of synapses and neurons, and as you increase that number, at some point we were able to think and to abstract and think of gods and stuff that doesn't, like spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is not something animals can, or we don't know, I guess, but ants probably don't think about spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point our brain was complex enough so that one emergent behavior of that was that we could abstract and then think of gods or something that we can see and that we can touch. And yeah, that's how I would describe emergent behavior.
Mm-hmm. So it's and yeah, like me and Tom work a lot with creativity. Tom paints a lot, and I do a lot of music, and we both interplay on each other's professions, and
Which
so
is very enjoyable. Holy shit.
it is. But yeah, I can definitely see that even a tiny bit of creativity in songs or paint is like, it does come out of you when you have an excess of energy, right? Like there's no art coming out of me when I'm really tired and depleted and just lying in bed or doom scrolling or whatever. Yeah, it's it is when you're so filled with love and energy and whatever it is that you just kind of have to do it. It's just coming out of you as if you're giving birth or something.
Which is, for example, which also happens in boredom. I've heard a lot of very intelligent people talk about Rick Rubin, for example, who is a big music producer who doesn't really play music himself, but helps people realize more or even their full potential. And he talks about boredom being very important for the creative process, where, like you say, like you have all that excess energy, but in the state of boredom, you're like, I need to do something. I need to get out of this.
Uh-huh.
And that's when good thoughts and creative thoughts and maybe even the best creative moments come to light.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Boredom. Heidegger talks about that it's the opening up of being. Boredom, like it's when that's the only time that you actually really exist as a conscious entity, is when you're bored. If you think about the phenomenology, like the direct experience of being bored is like you sort of like you're the way that you behave towards your environment and the outside world is completely different, because like if you're bored, like then you look at your feet, and then you look at the sky and the horizon, and then you fiddle with something, and you're not obsessed, engrossed in some activity, right? That's the thing about boredom. There's no activity, there's no doing, there's just
not defined direction, maybe.
Yeah, there's being, and that's when being arises out of boredom. And yeah, I wrote in my thesis about this, and basically how the way I interpret that is like, without boredom there is no existence, quite literally as well. Like there's just doing, and there's being engrossed. And then I talked about like the coming new technological society where we all have phones and we all have these devices that make sure that we are never bored, and
Distraction devices.
yeah, and thereby we are just never existing really. And and I don't know if now we talked about 5D and 4D and how the ants are compared to us. I don't know, when you're immersed yourself in the phone or screens or whatever, you are within 2D reality instead of 3D, right? You are purposely letting yourself go a dimension further down, which I know, funny thought.
Yeah.
It's bad for boredom. It's
Yeah.
really bad for boredom.
Yeah.
Boredom can also be uncomfortable
Yeah.
in the sense of we like to have a direction. We like to know where we're going. And being okay with boredom, being there in the moment, just being, existing, being curious, seeing what comes next is an important quality. And phones, for example, short form media content, which I have been struggling with, is definitely, or oftentimes I felt in my own experience that constantly listening to music, for example, when you're on the way somewhere, trying to drown out boredom or silence, thoughts, like that is first of all good or bad, debatable, but it definitely distracts you very intentionally. And the act of being bored is something to be learned or to be sustained. I feel like every time I'm off a screen detox, how much more I look around and for how much less distractions, like the more boredom I have, the more I am off my phone, the less I look for distractions, and the more I maybe look for an interesting and intentional direction that I actually want to go to, and not a direction which on my phone is swiping up. Intention.
So be bored, guys, and actualize the quantum field potential. Do some magic. We highly recommend it. Do you have anything else you want to talk?
Yes. Matthias,
Mm-hmm.
how does music work for you? How does because for the last, let's say, me and Matthias have been friends for about 2 years now, and you have introduced me to music and the creative process in that way. But for example, I'm not good with rhythm, and that is something that I'm still working on. But for example, with the song Empire Rise, like that was the first time, like I had to think a lot about like the text, and I was counting syllables in each line to kind of understand, okay, like what is the next line?
The physicist doing music.
Yes, exactly. And then I look at you, and you know, I look at you playing the banjo or the guitar, and you're just fiddling around, and I see you thinking, and your gears are turning, and then suddenly you spit out 4 bars that fit perfectly, as semi thought of before, but not really. They come out. Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah. I told you the other day like how I used to spend time with a freestyle rapper, and I realized like, wait, he is actually not conscious of what he's doing, or like he's not thinking about it. It is coming out of him from inside somehow, and so my lens of understanding that has always been Jung and the unconscious, and and how you can let that speak for you, how it's like the right side of your brain, the dreamy part that creates all these things for you, and that you shouldn't perhaps use your left side of your brain, which is more conscious and intentional and focused, but the more free flowy creativity of the right brain. And so it is this sort of inner feeling of letting it out and letting it go. And
Can you train that?
I really do believe you can, and I do think like the right side of the brain is just like the left. It's a muscle, and in our society, we are learned to train the left side. Right? We're taught in school: pay attention, think, like strain yourself, and it's all like left brain stuff that we're learning, and we kind of lose our intuition as we become more socialized into society, and but I've learned that you really can train this. And for me, one of the obvious things is dreams, actually. And it's I read this study that when you learn to, basically when you remember a dream, they did brain scans on people. And so what happens when you remember a dream is that there's actually a light that travels from the left side of your brain to your right side. So it's like and so there's these two hemispheres, and then there's I think it's called the corpus callosum, which connects them or something. And so there's some light that travels between that. And so imagine that connection between the left and the right is sort of like a muscle that you can actually train. And so the act of remembering your dream is you somehow connecting those two hemispheres in a conscious way. Like you're with your left side, your conscious side of your brain, you are directly experiencing something in your right side, which you usually never have access to, but you are kind of training that. And I don't know, I just noticed when I did that, when I started writing down my dreams, first of all, it was like a muscle, because I could remember more and more dreams when I did this for half a year or so. And then like at the end of it, I would have so many dreams, like I could write down a couple pages every morning if I wanted to, and I just didn't have time for it in the end. And now I've kind of gotten back to it.
Slave for the capitalism.
Yeah. Now I've been too busy with uni and all that stuff, so you kind of lose it in the system, right? But I did experience like this is a muscle, and I also realized, whoa, like my little scribbles on a piece of paper became a lot more creative, and there came a lot of cool monsters out, and my music became more so yeah, dreams, but also like it is just a muscle, and I think you know that too when you do art and you try to emerge, let something novel emerge on the paper or whatever, and it's like I've seen your progress, and you are 100% getting better and better at that. Yeah, and so yeah, it's a muscle, man, and you train it, and I do believe like just freestyle rappers, they start by just mumbling, rabbling, making weird, feeling it words, and then suddenly you just get a feel for it, and you sort of know what rhymes with what, and you get your own little script inside your head and what feels good, and then you're freestyling, and the same comes to me in songs, and yeah.
Intuition.
Yeah.
I think first of all, the skill, for example, to play music, like there's still technique, there's still training that you have to do to intuitively begin singing or playing the instrument, to convert what you're feeling or what you want to feel into reality, to actualize it. And for me, for example, with painting, I've made lots of sketchbooks where I very actively try to just fill out pages and try to just see what comes out in the moment. And yeah, like you say, it is a muscle. Intuition is definitely the stuff that comes out is also dependent on, let's say, the training that you did, the stuff that you have already done. Like Matthias didn't become a good musician because he was just sitting there and fumbling his thumbs, and then at some point he was able to grab a 5-finger chord and fucking rock that shit while singing. Oh, I don't know, Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus. You get it. Yeah.
But yeah, boredom, having the time, giving yourself space helps. There is definitely ways for intuition to come out, and for sure you can also like listen to us like, how can I do this better, or listen to fucking YouTube tutorials. But in the end, I think what you have done and what I have done and what other people for sure have also done is discover it for themselves. Spend the time and try it and figure out for yourself what the right thing is. Because like, yeah, you can definitely try to rap like Eminem and then learn every song of his, but in the end, your freestyle rap will, in the best case, just be an imitation of Eminem.
You have to do the Tao.
You have to find your own way.
The Tao, man. Yeah.
Train your intuition by what you like to do.
The Tao is not the way of others.
Yes.
The Tao is your way.
Fully.
Beautiful.
Intention. Time. Manifestation.
Yes. Actualize the quantum field.
Belief. Confidence is also important. Believing in your own path.
Yeah.
And not diverging from it. I think it's really easy today, or it's really hard to begin something new. For example, like playing the guitar, because there is already all of these great guitar players out there. And it's like, I cannot play a song within a week. What the shit?
Yeah.
So it takes time. Time you have to spend, but which is worth it.
I think the wind is fucking up our podcast, man.
Fuck nature, actually.
Yeah, fuck nature. Yeah.
What is maybe something you could give the listeners along the way? Maybe something you found out in the last year, last month, last 10 days here in the house?
I can tell you, yeah, I might as well spill the beans. I hope your mom is not listening to this, or my mom, but we ate some mushrooms.
Yes.
And we had a lot of mushrooms. Sorry, mom.
Sorry, mom.
And we had a trip, and on the mushrooms you get all these crazy thoughts, and one of the thoughts, but it wasn't just a thought, it was more like a conclusion, like this is 100% the case, and what I felt so strongly that I knew it was that you create your own reality. And I don't know, like one of the things that I've been struggling with right now is I have no fucking money and I'm traveling around, and I don't know, Tom is into Buddhism and he thought, fuck, you just have to live like Buddha with a bowl and beg, you know. and so I don't know, one of the ways that I actualized this thought in the moment was I grabbed one of his pieces of nice paper and I wrote down, if you need money, sell this. and then I put it on the Buddha statue or the Buddha statue, and I don't know. It's just this idea that experience can be whatever you want it to be, and then perhaps even I could make someone buy this piece of golden paper, and really I could be like Buddha and then just ask people for food, and I'm 100% sure that they would give me food if I asked them, and it's just, it just hit me. You really do create your own reality, in a certain sense, or at least you really can. And I plan to live my life in accordance with that conclusion somehow, and I'm hoping I could convince some other people along the way too, as well.
Well said.
Anything you want to finish with?
Live with intention, guys. Don't let other people tell you what you should live, what your existence should be. It's something I and Matthias, I think, also have been actively trying to do, and it's not easy because, weirdly enough, it actually kind of is not the thing we are taught. Like we go to school and you have to do that, and after that you have to do that, and then this, and then this. So a lot of it is kind of given by others. But yeah, just find yourself, be comfortable with yourself, try to enjoy what you do, and the way you want to see the world is definitely in your own eyes, like Matthias said last week, and like he wrote so nicely in my sketchbook, you live inside your own mind.
We ride through the north, east, west, and south. Rope up to the clouds, 'cause we're coming, yeah. Ride through the north, east, west, and south. Look to the clouds, 'cause we're coming, Lord, oh yeah.
We will have a
Empire Rise.
Empire Rise, guys.
That's it.
That's it.
That's been the 10th podcast of Copenhagen Circle. I hope you enjoy the show. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.
Bye.